All right, I've been welcome to Voices of Integrity. I've been trying to find an answer for 37 years. And it just happens that Shuaib is 37 years old. So what a coincidence, right? And so here's what the puzzle is, Shuaib. So 37 years ago, um, my lovely wife, she would have been 22 years old. She comes into the kitchen and she's dancing. She's bopping up and down like 22-year-old, girls do. They're bopping up and down. She's all excited, you know, and we've been married for, about 3 years. So when she's bopping up and down and all excited, that I'm like, that's pretty cool. And she's like, I figured this out. I'm like, what'd you figure out? She said, and I read a book and I figured this out about me. And I looked at her and I just did just like this. I just cocked my head to the right. I just like, see, this is when you were born. It's like, and I cannot for the life of me figure it out. I can't figure this thing out. 37 years I've been after this, the answer to this question, and I cannot. I cocked my head to the right. I'm like, I didn't even say anything. I just cocked my head to the right. And she looked at me and she had this big old smile on her face. She says, I know. You've been trying to tell me that for 3 years, or probably since we were dating 4 or 5 years. So you've been telling me that for years. I know that, but I had to read it in a book. And I remember thinking, well, that doesn't seem like a very smart way to think. Like it, like if your husband who lives with you knows you, loves you, like if your husband is sharing something with you, like why would you have to read it in a book? Like what happens if like and at that time I was not an author, and I've wondered actually, I've been puzzling about this. I've wondered if that's why I became an author. If I was jealous when I was 20, 22 years old, and I was wondering, I'm wondering, I'm like, I'm like, is that what I need to do to get my wife to listen to me? Is write a book. So I've written 16 books, and and she's read some, but she's never come out dancing and saying, "Wow, like wow, like I read something in your book and it got through." Like 16 books and I still don't have that response. And 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 Luke just gave me the same experience 37 years later. So in the prospect rescue, this thing is magical. Like when you go ahead and get a testimony, when you get a testimony from a client, that's box 12. Now, that testimony, you want it to go ahead and do something magical. Like you want it to do something magical. And so, I mean, it's better just to have any testimony. Just throw the testimony out there. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Just, something is better than nothing. But if you really wanted that testimony to really go ahead and impact your business, what you do is you find out why you're losing prospects. So if you're losing prospects because of price, ideally you get your client say, Dreamscape was, they were a little bit more, but they were worth it. What you do is you embed why you're losing your prospects into the testimony, and then you take the testimony and you feed it back into your marketing, pre-sale, sales, and even servicing, and even client for life. Like this thing is magical. Like it's absolutely magical, and it took me decades to figure this thing out. And there's this 15-minute video. There's this 15-minute video that goes through this thing, and it goes through it. Now, Assad went ahead and is the first person that's gone through these 10 videos and managed up and out. And so, but it's like, did it really click with him? like, and so with Kenny and Luke, it's like I like, why do they both, like, let's say their dad's been trying to tell them something, they don't listen to their dad, but they listen to me. Why are they listening to me? Why not listen to your dad? Like, he's your dad. Like, or maybe they don't listen to their dad and they don't listen to me, but they listen to somebody else who's their age. Like, or they watch some YouTube video or some podcast or some stranger. And so, I mean, it might connect back into, the man with the briefcase from 100 yards away, but there's a lot more efficient way to learn, a lot more. So I've been trying to figure out for 37 years, like, there's a better way to do this. Do you have any suggestions? Shoaib?
Not at the moment.
I thought, since you were born on, maybe on the day that, I don't remember what day, it was that I had these things happen, but maybe it was your birthday. Maybe you were born just to solve this problem for me. I mean, it's pretty coincidental that I've been after this for 37 years and I still can't for the life. But I would think once it happens once, like, I would think that my wife, after that happened, like, why wasn't that as significant as experience as me? Like,
Uh, there is a quotation in Urdu. We call it "Ghar ki murgi dal barabar," and if I translate in English, it is the home cooked chicken is considered no better than lentils. So I think if something that come far from your circle and you think that this information and or this source is credible, we'll listen them carefully.
see, I've thought about that like a lot. Like, there's a lot of thought going into this. Like, my grandchildren, like, why don't they listen to grandpa? And I figured it out because grandpa's often telling them they're going to get hurt. And most of the time, they don't get hurt. Now, is it because they listen to grandpa? It might be. So when I tell people, do this or you're going to get hurt, and they do it and they don't get hurt, I've saved them from hurt, but they actually think I'm wrong. I'm not wrong. I saved you from getting hurt. But it never registers with them like, grandpa's really smart. He can help me. But there's sometimes that I tell them, be careful, you're roughhousing, you're going to get hurt, and they get hurt. Do they go ahead and, sometimes they get mad. It's like my wife and my kids, human beings they're so strange. So I love that. So is there some solution? Like, you have
Yep,
that still.
yep. I was listening a podcast and he was saying that if we get something free, do not give value to that thing. So if we subscribe for a course and pay something for it, we will give more focus on it. Then we will think that we are paying money for it, we are spending time on it. We should take it seriously and get the maximum information, knowledge from it. But if something is available freely for you, then you will not give too much importance or weightage to that information. Even that is much better.
See, that's brilliant. That reminds me of Ralph from Australia. He said, if you pay, people who pay attention. People who pay a lot pay a lot of attention. And so, but it seems like I'm different than normal people. And so I think when people think of pay, they think of paying money, where I look and I say, if I don't pay attention to my wife, if I don't pay attention to my children or my grandchildren, if I don't pay attention to the people around me, I'm going to pay a price. I'm going to but it's like they don't get that. Like they don't understand. Like, how do I understand? It seems like how do I understand that? But they don't. Like it's perplexing to me. I hurt because I think, if people would listen, man, I could save them a lot of pain. I mean, take, I don't know, 3 hours a week to go ahead and meet with, Alvin and sometimes Mel and sometimes Ernie, and they're in their 80s. And it's interesting to me where they said, well, there's other people, younger people, because I'm 61. There's people your age, but they don't like, why do I see that as being something really valuable? Like, it's like, why do I see that? How am I able to see things of value and other people don't see value? Like,
I think it this all information, this all knowledge is like your child. You are a creator of all these information, patterns, charts, graphs, circles, and so you know the importance of them. But other people might not be on the same level of understanding where you are at the moment to observe all these kind of things.
I think what it is, I think it's a chicken and an egg, like which came first, the chicken or the egg. Um, and so I think, like, when people see my journal, it's kind of interesting to see their responses. And so, so people see the journal and they go ahead and it's interesting because you can tell a lot. I show them, oh yeah, this is my journal. And I just go through it like this. And I didn't start building these models until I turned 40 years old. I mean, some of them I did, some of the models I built, but it wasn't intentional. Like when I was in my 20s, I went ahead and discovered, this model. And if I, like some of the models I discovered when I was in my 20s, like that one was when I was probably what, 28. This one was when I was like 23. I discovered these, but all of these, like they're like, whoa, there's a lot there. And I'm like, oh yeah, pretty much every one of these are a result of pain. Like they all come from pain. Every one of these models come from pain. And it's like, it's so strange. It's so, and my pain or somebody else's pain or trying to avoid pain. Like, well, this is not good. Like this is gonna hurt. Like, how do you figure out how do you put it into a visual to help people see things so they don't get hurt? Their business doesn't die. Somebody else, a human being doesn't die. Like, and so it's like, yeah, so you've been tremendously helpful, Shuaib, as always. I appreciate it. Any thoughts you have?
I mean, I don't know. I think the reason this is happening now is simply because it is on our um it's on our action vision plan for this month. That's what I think. And then I don't know if it just happened that Luke saw Smart Style. They're something that they did. It's like, oh, like that. Yep.
So, wow, something works. like, wow, an action vision plan. Like it works. Like, okay, there's actions and you go over them and you read them every month, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's what it is. Like Alvin Miller, who's very successful in business, and he's 15 years old, and he says, probably shouldn't fight against my dad. Like, probably ought to listen to my dad. Novel thought. And so it's almost like multiple angles coming in from multiple angles, and so it's like, how do you get people, you know, how do you get people, how do you get it into a better system? How do you get people to see it faster and understand the significance of it? It goes into the flawless thinking and the quantum. It goes into that world. It goes into, okay, like flawless thinking. It's like, how do you see, think, and do, or do, see, and think, or see, do, and think? Like, how do you do? Like, how do you do that? Like, how? The foundation of all of it is curious questions. Being a curious person and asking questions. So, anyways, go ahead. So, anyways, this is, maybe this is a breakthrough, 37 years, and maybe, just maybe, this will be good. So hopefully this is beneficial to you. Definitely talk to your Action Vision coach about this, because there'll be things that, that they can see, and they want to help you, like deeply help you see and understand what's there. There's so much here. It's insane. So always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.